Hey everyone, and welcome. Let's get right into a wild idea about the very beginning of, well, everything. What if the universe didn't just explode into existence? What if it spun its way into being? I mean, think about it. Just asking that one question kind of changes everything we picture when we think of the Big Bang, right? It's not just this straight outward explosion anymore. This idea suggests there was a primordial twist right at the dawn of time. Okay, so where do you even start with a question that massive? Well, what's so fascinating is that the argument for a spinning start is surprisingly confident. We're not talking about a maybe here. It's more like an almost definitely yes. Whoa! Now that is a bold statement. This isn't some wishy-washy guess. The whole argument is that the odds of the universe being born perfectly, absolutely, immovably still, are basically zero. So the real question becomes, why are they so sure? And it all boils down to this one really crucial idea. Just picture the entire universe, right at the beginning, as one single object. Now, try to imagine that thing having absolutely zero rotation. It's, it's almost impossible, isn't it? I mean, in our everyday experience, pretty much everything that moves has some kind of spin to it. A perfectly still beginning, that would be the real miracle. All right, but hold on. If the universe really was born spinning, that brings up a pretty obvious problem, doesn't it? Why don't we feel like we're on some cosmic merry-go-round right now? Well, the answer is actually beautifully simple, and it all has to do with an ice skater. And, it's a totally fair question. If there was this huge, immense rotation at the start, where did all that energy go? Because, let's be honest, our universe feels incredibly stable and still to us today. This is where the ice skater analogy just nails it. So in the very beginning, the universe was super dense and compact. You can think of it like a skater with their arms tucked in tight, spinning really, really fast. But then, as the universe expanded, that's like the skater extending their arms all the way out. All that rotational energy gets spread out over this vast, ever-increasing space, and the spin slows way, way down. So slow, in fact, that it becomes pretty much undetectable today. Okay, so the universe was spinning, then it expanded and slowed down. Makes sense. But the reason this whole idea is so important is what's truly mind-blowing. See, an initial spin isn't just some fun what-if scenario. It might actually hold the key to solving one of the absolute biggest mysteries in all of physics. And really, that's the bottom line. Why should we even care about some ancient spin that's long gone? Well, because it might just be the very reason that you, me, and, well, everything else even exists in the first place. This gets us to one of the greatest puzzles in all of science. Why is there something instead of just nothing? The Big Bang should have created equal amounts of matter and its mirror image, antimatter. The problem is, whenever those two meet, poof, they annihilate each other. Our universe should be a totally empty void of energy, but it's not. We're here, and a spinning star might just be the answer. It's a pretty straightforward concept when you break it down. On one side, you've got matter. That's the stuff we experience as just being there. It's us, it's the planets, the stars. And then on the other side, you've got antimatter. It's perfect opposite. All the physics tells us they should have been created in a perfect match and just canceled each other out completely. But something tipped the scales and left just enough matter behind to form, well, everything we see. So how in the world could a simple spin achieve that? Okay, here's the proposed mechanism, and you gotta hang on because it's a wild one. An initial rotation wouldn't have just spun the stuff in the universe. It would have twisted space-time itself. This created what the theory calls torsions. You can almost think of them as tiny directional twists in the very fabric of reality. And it's these little twists that might have given matter the edge it needed to survive over antimatter. And that tiny little twist in space-time, that brings us to the final, really mind-bending part of all this. Suddenly, we're not just talking about physics anymore. We're talking about our own origin story. That initial spin might have set a fundamental direction for the entire cosmos. So here's the ultimate takeaway. The actual direction of that very first spin, whether it was left or right, on a cosmic scale, that could have been the deciding factor. It wasn't just some random fluke. It was a physical property of the early universe that basically predetermined that matter was going to win the great cosmic battle. It guaranteed that a universe of stuff would exist. Which leaves us with one last pretty provocative thought to chew on. Your existence, my existence, literally everything we have ever known. Could it all just be the result of a tiny little spin in one specific direction all the way back 13.8 billion years ago? What a stunning idea to think about. Thanks so much for joining me.